They've noticed the upswing at St. Francis.
We are definitely seeing an increase in the number of cases that we have here in our emergency department.
Likewise, at Hillcrest South over the past few years, more cases of kids ingesting marijuana.
There's certainly an increase since the legalization of medical marijuana, and we typically see that more in the forms of edibles.
The Oklahoma Poison Center has seen a substantial increase in calls about the issue since medicinal was legalized in 2018.
In 2018, we had 13 exposures to marijuana in pediatrics between the age of 0 and 5 years. And so fast forward for 2022, that number jumped to 269.
And while that's an increase of almost 2,000%,
the context here, I think, is important.
Ryan Kiesel of Yes on 820. And for context,
we also asked the Poison Control Center for other types of calls they received.
In the year 2020, for example, Poison Center calls for children under 6 included 514 calls for ibuprofen, 399 calls for insecticides, 306 for dishwasher detergent, 219 for tobacco and nicotine products, and 152 for marijuana.
I don't at all want to minimize or downplay how scary and terrible that experience would be for a parent. I don't want to do that at all. But we need to be clear that marijuana is just another thing on a long list of items that can be found in households that should be kept out of the reach of children.
As for symptoms of kids ingesting marijuana,
typically the symptoms are on the milder side, but if they ingest several edibles or a larger amount, those symptoms can escalate all the way to requiring ICU level care.
We see things like sleepiness, increased drowsiness, a little bit of confusion or altered mental status. Sometimes we even see shortness of breath, and then commonly we'll see vomiting that is persistent.
While none of the medical professionals wanted to weigh in on the upcoming vote on 820, they did have some thoughts on keeping marijuana away from kids.
Keep it put away, keep it locked up, keep it out of the reach of your kids.
You want to make sure that you're keeping it under lock and key.
Our big push, we have no stance on legalization or decriminalization in our state, but our big push is just keeping it up and out of reach of kiddos.
Burt Mummolo, News Channel 8.